Welcome, you've made it to video 2 of this lesson. This video is all about lines and planes in space. First of all, we have a definition of space. It's the set of all points in 3 dimensions. It's all around us. What that usually looks like in a figure is a bunch of planes coming together. So here we have a plane, it's a parallelogram, and a bunch of other planes coming up next to it. All of a sudden now it looks kind of like a 3-dimensional box. Keep in mind these are planes, they never end. So the idea of a box is not exactly a good representation, but quite often we will also even label all of the points where all those planes come together. Hey, have you ever wondered what we call something when two things come together? Well, we call that an intersection. It's the set of all points two figures have in common. Okay, so here we have plane P. On plane P we have line L. Let's suppose we have this line M coming through line L, and notice line L and line M come together at point B. So we say point B is the intersection of lines L and M. Well, what if they don't intersect? There are two possibilities. One possibility is they can be parallel. So parallel lines are coplanar lines that do not intersect. Now the word coplanar is important. They do have to be on the same plane. We will mark them by using two arrowheads in the middle of the figures. So see those yellow arrowheads? That tells us that line M and line N are parallel. Oh, and how do we write that? By using this funky little symbol right here. So line M and line N are parallel. Notice that we don't use the word line in this case. I don't know why, it just makes it shorter, I suppose. We can also use the points on the line, so line AB is parallel to line RP. Same parallel symbol. We can also talk about planes being parallel. Parallel planes are simply two planes that don't intersect. So here we have plane M and plane R. They're not going to intersect, so we say that they're parallel. We can also use 3 points on the plane, so points P, C, and L. So that means that plane PCL is parallel to plane R. So that's one possibility if two figures don't intersect. The other possibility is for them to be skew. So sometimes lines do not intersect because they are not coplanar, and we call those skew lines. They're not parallel and they don't intersect. So here's an example of line D and line J. They're in two completely different planes. They're not parallel, they don't intersect. There's no symbol because, quite frankly, we don't talk about skew lines much. So with that, let's try some of this. What is the intersection of line ZS and line Q? Well, let's get rid of everything that isn't line ZS or line Q, and then it becomes obvious that it's point K. The two lines come together right there at point K. Boom, done. Okay? Let's try another one. What is the intersection of plane M and line Y? Once again, if we ignore everything except line Y, which is the line that comes down through the plane, and plane M, we notice that line Y intersects the plane at point K again. So the intersection of a line and a plane can be a single point. I want you to do these 2 problems on your own really quick. Pause the video, try them, and then come back for the answers. So you ready? Here are your answers. How did you do? If you have questions, please make note of them in your notes and ask them next time in class. Here's another quick question. Let's try this one together. Which lines are parallel? Oh, geez. There are 2 red arrowheads in the middle of line Q and line Y. They must be parallel. Don't you love how markings in a figure actually give you answers like that? So pay attention to those markings. Here's another question. Which lines are skew? For this one, let's take a look at the figure. Notice right here at point G, that's where line KL intersects plane M, and point G is not on line Q. Also notice that point S is where that same line intersects plane Z, and point S is not on line Y. So line KL is actually skewed to both of those parallel lines. It doesn't intersect either one of them. So we can say that line GS is skewed to line Y. We can also say that same line, I'm going to use a different name this time, line KL is skewed to line Q. So now I want you to try these on your own, pause the video, and then come back to check your answers. Welcome back. Here are your answers. Once again, if you did not get the right answers, make note of that in your notes and ask those questions in class. There are now going to be a couple more questions and then the final and third video.